The next thing I want to talk about is a couple, and this is what we classify as a pair of forces. Now a couple is where you have a pair of forces which act parallel to each other but in opposite directions. That's what they call a couple, a pair of forces. And this doesn't cause any resultant linear force, but it does produce a turning force, usually called a torque rather than a moment. You know, like turning a bike. If you change your bike, you've got two forces. That's called a couple. Now the torque of a couple in newtons per metre is a product of the size of the force times the perpendicular distance between the forces. So it's T equals F times D. T equals F times D. Let's do an example. A cyclist turns a sharp left corner by applying equal but opposite forces of 25 newtons to the ends of the handlebars. The length of the handlebars are 0.7 metres long. Calculate the torque applied to the handlebars. This is the formula, T equals F times D. Insert known data, it comes out at 17.5 newtons. That's how you work out a couple. If you've got a couple, it's using that formula there. Let's do another example. A driver is changing his flat tyre. The torque required to undo the nut is 60 newtons per metre. He uses the 0.4 metre long double-ended wheel wrench. Calculate the force that must be applied at each end of the spanner, and calculate the force that must be applied at each end of the spanner if he uses a spanner 0.6 metres long. Okay? How do you sort this out then? Well, the first part can be determined using this formula. T equals F times D. If you transpose that, because we want the force instead, you transpose it and it comes out at this here, put them in the formula, it comes out at 150 newtons. That is the force required, 150 newtons. Let's look at the second part. Calculate the force that must be applied at each end of the spanner if he uses a spanner 0.6 metres long. Well, you put it in there, now you put the known variables in, now it comes out at 100 newtons. A much lower force is required for a longer wrench. We all know that. The longer the wrench, the lower force is required because of the moment.